Welcome to All the Way Up podcast by Jeffrey Mensa. This is the Bar and Beyond series, a platform where we host insightful conversations that push growth, drive ambition, and shape perspectives of young lawyers. Hi. Welcome to a special episode of All the Way Up podcast by Jeffrey Mensa. We are shooting here at the Dawadawa restaurant in Osu. Great ambience, great food. Do well to check the place out when you can. Sitting across me is a great man, a great friend of mine. And for a while now, we've just been having a conversation of about this episode, shooting this episode, and I'm just excited that today it actually happens. In addition to being the legal and compliance manager of Genser Energy, he does a host of other things. And as the conversation progresses, we're going to enter into each and every one of those things. But ladies and gents, permit me to introduce to you the man, Onesimos Barimah. Onesimos.
Chairman.
Thank you so much for making time to be a part of this conversation. You say, you can't want so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, exactly. Onesimos, we'll start with an icebreaker question. Imagine you have the opportunity to be one of three things.
Okay.
Either the president of Ghana, the Pope, or the UN Secretary General. Which of them would you be? And why?
It's quite difficult.
Yeah, tough one.
It's a tough one. Well, as a Catholic, I would have loved to be a pope. Looking at the seven sacraments, you can't choose all. I have a ring on. For president of Ghana, it has its ups and downs.
It's a hot seat, but
I think I'll prefer a US
Secretary.
Because I know that with that, you make more impact. The world at large.
Well, US Secretary, if the president of Ghana is a hot seat because of Ghanaians, UN Secretary is a hot seat because of the entire world.
Yeah, but looking at the impact that you can make, Ghana is a bit restricted.
Great.
In terms of exposure and then in terms of making an impact, I think the UN Secretary offers more. So should I
prophesy that?
Never say never.
This is just you're probably looking at the next US Secretary General. What is Boss Barimah from the Republic of Ghana?
You never say never.
All right, so let's commence our conversation. First and foremost, I mean, you're a lawyer.
Yes.
You're a lawyer. How many years at the bar are you?
I'm called in 2014.
2014.
I'm looking at my ninth year.
Ninth year.
At the bar. Yes.
Congratulations. I think October is just a couple of days. A couple of months away. And so very soon, we'll be celebrating the ninth in style. Party Biana.
Well, yeah, let's wait for the 10th anniversary.
All right. And so Onesimos, how did the journey begin? I mean, becoming a lawyer, what was the inspiration? Was it that you probably had a family member who was a lawyer, or you probably, I don't know. How did the interest in reading law start?
I'll first of all say that I'm a first generation lawyer in my family, both the nuclear and then the extended family.
Right.
There's no really a lawyer that I really looked up to. But my journey started off in a very interesting way. I'll say that my uncle, Mr. Peter Yeboah, he's currently the CEO of CHAG, Christian Health Association of Ghana.
Right.
I think I was about 7 years, and he had come to Utafo, where I grew up. That's where I had my formative life. So he said he saw me fighting. He had called to find out why I was fighting. And he was listening to, whilst I was explaining, I was explaining the coherence, the chronology, and said, this my nephew will be a lawyer.
You'll be a lawyer.
And he chased me up. Even after secondary school, he chased up, got me the forms, ensured I took LOB. And then even in school, still chased me up in school.
Made sure that.
And he was at the graduation.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
So my inspiration to be a lawyer was from him. He actually identified the law in me.
Wow.
And pursued it until it came.
Oh, that's amazing.
To fruition. And so
that's amazing.
He introduced me to law and he guided me to be a lawyer.
We thank God for the life of your uncle.
Yeah.
Yes. Before law school, let's just do a quick journey down memory lane. Junior high school education through to senior high school education. What was it like? Where did you attend these stages of your education?
I said, my early formative years have been in Kumasi.
Yeah. Okay.
So I attended APS, Adventist Preparatory School, and then proceeded to St. James Seminary and Secondary School, where I wanted to be a priest. So I was a seminarian.
Wow.
And Then through to KNUST, where I did my LLB, and then a BL. I also did it at Kumasi campus.
Kumasi campus, okay.
And then I became a lawyer.
Okay.
And then maybe after law, I've done a bit of LLM, oil and gas law at Legon.
Right.
And then some insurance courses, health and safety,
right,
financing,
okay,
among other things.
We'll come to that. Bits of it. We'll come to that very soon. That's a post your education post. You're being called to the bar. Okay. I would want us to dwell a bit on that. But before then, you mentioned that you were in seminary.
Yes.
You had ambitions to become a priest. Yes. What happened?
That's a very big question.
What happened?
For as Catholic, the seven sacraments can only have 6. So along the way, maybe I missed the call.
You missed the call,
yeah. And then
the calling you chose not to pick on.
Yeah, I took after the final and 6 vows. So
you put your phone on silent.
I do ministry, but not in priesthood.
Not in priesthood. Yes. All right. That's interesting. So now let's move to law school. All right. Law school. Everyone has their law school story. Yeah. I mean, every lawyer has their law school story. Some sweet. For the most of us, it was quite a bitter part of our education. I mean, you got called to the bar, and it's only now that we're smiling. All right, what was your journey like in law school? Kumasi campus, KNUST through to Kumasi campus.
So throughout my education, I think the law school was one of the best places that I enjoyed.
Wow, really?
And the reason being that, law school is mixed up with the old class and then the young grads from school. Kumasi campus was a blend of the two.
Right.
We had about 70% of the old men and then 30% of the students.
Yeah.
Everybody who was at the law school between the period of 2012 to 2014 knew of a group called One Style.
One Style?
Yes.
Okay.
Together with my friend Douglas Oben.
All right.
Anytime a tutor brought a photocopy machine, a photocopy product, we were the people that took it from the man, went to make the photocopies, and come to the class to share.
Okay.
We were making lots of money.
Oh, you're selling the handouts?
We're selling it to the people.
Nice one.
Yes, and the reason behind it was that we don't want the old men to go queuing for the photocopies to be done.
So you're facilitating their life.
And then we also used to brief most of the cases, and then the notes, type it out, and then make some funds out of it.
Wow.
And recently, about last month, I still had a colleague calling me that they've seen one of our products still in school.
It's still in school.
By the students.
Wow.
And so, I mean, the law school was fun.
Wow.
For us, yeah, we made lots of friends. We made a lot of networks. And I think as at that time, too, there was a bit of maturity. And so we leverage on that matured aspect of
One Style.
One Style, we serve you better.
That's amazing. We serve you better. That's the catchphrase.
So I'm sure anyone at the law school now, if you find any of your handouts,
trace it back to Onesimos Barimah and his team.
Yes.
It's interesting you mentioned, because back in law school, I mean, when I entered law school, this was 2012 faculty, I came to meet a document like briefs, just as you've described. But this was by Thomas Stevens. Yes. And now he's now a lecturer at the University of Ghana School of Law. And subsequently, I mean, these were classmates of mine, Sybil and Asare. So they were 2 friends, of course, female and male, and they used to study together. Okay. And they'll type all their notes, brief everything, and now I still see their documents around, and it's really facilitated the life of the law students. And so shouts to Sybil and Asare.
Shouts to One Style.
Exactly. Now, Onesimos, the law, being a lawyer, did you have any expectations as you progressed and gradually got to the call?
Well, before the law school, I thought in the first year I was going to make millions. Yeah, because every lawyer has this expectation, wild expectations that Charlie, they can't finish law school, so money for flow. And I also had this wild expectation of saving the world.
Nice.
Saving the world, wanted to be a human rights activist. Also try to make some money out of the things that I do. But after law school, that's when the reality
hit, eh?
That Charlie, things really take time, and you have to know what you are in for. First of all, identifying what kind of lawyer you want to be.
You want to be, yeah.
You want to be a corporate lawyer. If you want to be a corporate lawyer, what firm can really help you? Do you want to be a litigation lawyer? even for litigation, what kind of litigation do you want
You want to do?
You want to do land litigation, then there's a law firm for you want to do corporate litigation, commercial. Then that will also decide if you want to be just a general practitioner too, then that also determine where you have your people.
So what then was your story? Being called to the bar, having to do pupilage, the choice of place to do pupilage. What was running through your mind? What were your considerations?
After exams in July, you have about 2-3 months to try to relax before your bar results come. So I happened to be in Kumasi, like I told you. So I joined the firm, Safujen and Associates, where I was following the lawyer to court, trying to understand what is it that is really in the law that I'm about to face after I'm called to the bar. And so during the bar, preparation towards called to the bar, I'd come to Accra and I applied to Kulendi.
Okay.
I was advised by a very senior colleague and friend, Dennis Ejejumo.
Okay.
That words with that's what kind of lawyer do you want to be? He threw the question to us, myself and Stephen Obindako. So there was some kind of discussions, and I knew he was there. He was at Kulendi, so I'd applied. And so after law school, I was called for an interview at Kulendi.
Okay.
And I did the interview, went back to Kumasi to start my pupilage. So a week into my pupilage.
That was pupilage at the firm at which you were in Kumasi. Okay, Safujen.
So a week into my pupilage, then the call came. It came on Thursday.
Okay.
Monday I was in Accra.
Wow.
To start my pupilage in Kulendi.
Wow.
What really informed it was that I wanted a place where no one knows me.
Okay.
I stayed in Kumasi, GSS, went to Sunyani for my high school education, came back to KNUST 4 years in Kumasi, and had even done my law school in Kumasi. So I wanted
a change of environment.
Though I didn't really know anyone here, I knew Stephen Obindako, so I called him, Charlie, the Kulendi people call me, I don't really know anyone. He said, come. So I came to Accra, met Stephen, went into some small place with Steve, and then the journey began from there.
Nice. Pupilage stage, how would you describe it? Because for the young lawyer, like you said, you have so many expectations, and you have thrusted into reality. How was pupilage for you?
For me, pupilage was the turning point in my career. It's reoriented my mind on how I saw law. So our first meeting with Yoni Kulendi, he had, after the interview, and then we had come in orientation, went to his office, and he asked us why we all want to be lawyers. Yoni Kulendi is an orator. He then told us that regardless of whoever you are, wherever you come from, if you see the law as your only make or break, you will be able to make it. And so we are started, but Kulendi gives you that diverse opportunities. You get to meet so many seniors, all have their different characteristics. Dennis Ejejumo was that aggressive technical lawyer who looks into technicalities in applications. Try to beat even the case down before it comes on trial. Here's a strategy. You meet Daniel Osei, who was calm, but pays extreme attention to details. You meet the Theresa's of Benjamin, who would review your work. By the time she brings back your documents, you know that this has passed through the stages. You meet Rosenberg, who was an aggressive litigator. You meet Mrs. Atefa, who had that imposing figure, speaks very well in courts, and Yoni Kulendi.
The man himself.
Oh my gosh, the man himself. When you give him all the debriefing facts and then he gets to meet up to talk, you realize that, Charlie, I'm at the right place. And they make you, the place was an open place where you get to decide how you want to practice, even though there are guidelines. There are a lot of seniors, and you get to choose who you work with.
Okay.
Even though, if during pupilage, you're not really on so many cases. So you get to follow. Each senior can call you. But you're also taught that you own your brief. So that when you have the opportunity to follow a senior to court, after court, what do? You take up the brief. Try to review it. Ask the necessary questions. This letter in this, what was the reason for this letter? And in doing that, you're also preparing yourself that in the instance where there's an opportunity for you to fire,
you
fire. And Kulendi also operates a system where after owning your brief you are responsible for your actions. And so until the senior trusts you with a brief, I mean, there's no way they're going to give you another one.
Right.
So once you have that opportunity, you have to...
It's your shots to excel.
You have to go for the kill.
Wow.
So Kulendi exposed that to that diverse seniors.
Style
they
of...
had the time to review the works that you did. They had the time to give you the opportunity to grow. So they also operated in teams. So every case had about 4 or 5 seniors. If you are the junior on the brief, you are supposed to generate the first draft.
Right.
And it goes through a series of review. So by the time it comes back, your next review won't be like your first review.
Right.
Because by then, you had studied how it was done. You have
Picked
studied
up
the
a thing or
reviews
two.
that came up. And then the experience was great at Kulendi.
I think you've hinted some of the nuggets that you picked up during this stage, but I'll still ask.
Yeah.
All right. What would you identify as those valuable nuggets that you think every young lawyer in the stage of pupilage should actually look out for at that stage?
Okay, so now what I would say is that there's nothing new under the sun. I mean, every stage, everywhere you go, things will look so clumsy. Especially the first time I saw a senior moving an application. I'm like, hey, Charlie, so we met him because it was too, the things that you learn in school.
Yeah.
Practically when you come, it's entirely
different, yes.
So the first thing is that anytime you enter a place, be determined to stay. This is the place I've come. There's something here. That's the reason why I've come. I have to learn it. I have to earn something from there. And then from that to pupilage time to you have to own your brief.
Yeah.
Own the desk that you are given.
Yeah.
Any work that is given onto you, take it as if
full responsibility.
Take full responsibility of the matter. And most of our seniors passes docs to us when they are busy. And if you show them that I've prepared myself enough, I've been following you, I've been watching you, I've been observing, and I've gathered that confidence to handle the brief, then they get to give you more. So for me, it's the determination, the attitude, owning your brief, and then building relations with the people you meet. At Kulendi, there's a clerk called Gilbert. Gilbert had been with Kulendi since he started off. He knows so much that he taught me a lot of things. I still liaise with him when I need assistance. And so sometimes it's not just about you being a lawyer, flouting your shoulders around, I'm a lawyer. No, there are people in the firm who know so much that if
can learn from.
Humbling enough, they'll be more than willing to teach you. Even for your seniors, it's good to build relations with them. Corporate relations has its pros and cons. And so for you as a young person, it is only when you have a relation with your senior, that's when you can call him on Saturdays and Sundays, asking him questions of cases that you are going to handle on Monday. If you keep a strict corporate relation with them, we work from 8 to 5, Monday to Friday. And that's not going to be helpful to
exactly.
You're right. So be determined, have the positive mental attitude, own the briefs that you are given, take your time. Things are not rocket science. With time, they will start opening up, and then keep a good relation from the cleaner to the CEO. Each of them will be helpful in your way up.
I think that's some solid advice. You mentioned something, right? That once you had come to Kulendi, you were convinced that there was something for you to get from Kulendi, and so I believe probably that influenced your decision as to whether to stay or not after your pupilage. Because pupilage was for 6 months, I believe. What was your mind space like upon completion of pupilage? Was it automatic that, look, I'm staying because I've identified something good here, or there were other considerations that were running through your mind?
Well, there are a lot of considerations, especially when you have so much obligations as a young lawyer. Especially on my part when I'd come to stay with someone. 6 months. I mean, you can't be a burden on to people. After 6 months, if you have opportunity, you may want to move ahead. So you ease the burden that
on the person,
But I decided to extend. I mean, they extended it. And I decided to stay.
To stay, yeah.
And so for me, I still felt that 6 months wasn't enough for me, or the things that I really wanted to learn. Because you had so much seniors, all with diverse characteristics, like I said.
Yeah.
That someone like Ernest Abujinapo was there. Ernest was there. Senator Ko was there. Amo Pukwajima, very calm.
It's an all-star squad.
Extremely detailed. We have Dennis Ejejumo, Dennis Egose, everyone. And so for me, I still felt there was more.
There's a need to stay.
More to.
Final question on the pupilage stage, all right? Like you mentioned, there were definitely demands, all right? On a young lawyer like yourself, you have needs. You need money in your pocket. In basic terms, all right. What was that ride like for you? The start of pupilage, reality hitting that. Look, in your first year, you're probably not going to be making huge sums of money. How did you balance that need with the desire to also stay put and to learn? Because I mean, just before you come in, I mean, normally the instinct would be, let me go somewhere where I can get money.
Okay.
Let me start to take up some jobs here and there for the young lawyer. What was it like for you?
Well, I've seen evidence of people who came to Kulendi with nothing, had stayed, and then with that one destiny-changing case, had changed their whole generational income. And so there was this hope that one day, if I get to stay and I get that juicy brief, my life can certainly change. And I mean, Kulendi also had that policy that most of the big people came to the firm after work had closed. And so we're known to be working late hours. Yeah, I remember the earliest I'd left Kulendi doing my pupilage was 11 p.m., 12. Yes, sometimes you could say 1, 2.
Wow.
When there's work. Because everyone, most of the big, meaningful, financial resource people come to work after they had closed from work.
Oh.
Yeah, so if you want to do that 8 to 5,
it's not going to work.
No, it's not going to work because you have to wait till they had closed. That's when they take the instructions. And when the instructions are taken, if you happen to be there, that's when you get to get the eye of the king. Hey, please come, let's take the instructions. And that's when the instruction stage comes in, and I mean, you get to be on a brief.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
And so that's one of the models that.
So it's a sacrifice you had to be willing to make.
You have to be making sacrifices, working weekend and all. I knew that people came to Kulendi with nothing, and their lives had changed. And so that assurance, that vision
was there.
Let me wait a bit.
That's what kept you
more,
going.
And then with the hope that it will be better one day. Yes, that made me stay.
So how long did this go on for? I mean, how long did you spend at Kulendi in total?
I spent almost 2 years there.
2 years.
Yes, so 2014 to January 2016.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Almost 2 years. Yes.
And at that point, did you have some mapped out plan as to what the next move was going to be, or like you mentioned earlier on, at that point, did you have some clear sense of the kind of lawyer you wanted to be, or what area you wanted to enter into?
I was still considering a lot of things. I loved litigation, and anybody that worked with me at Kulendi would affirm that. I found pride in moving applications and it being granted. I found pride in doing cross-examinations, putting in a show. You know, our boss was a showman. So sometimes when you bring out your briefs, all the big books, you had prepared your small debriefing notes, going to rattle courts with your wig and stuff.
And gown.
After court, a lot of people run challenge. Today there you spot you know that kind of young, ambitious lawyer. I love litigation. Litigation. So it was something that I wanted to do. And I even remember that when I moved, I know we'll come there, when I moved to Genser, I'd walked up to my CEO and tell him, Charlie, boss,
you missed those days.
I still want to go to court. I say, hey, young man, relax. Things take time. So
wow,
that's just about it. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so post Kulendi, you make an entry into Genser Energy. It's the energy space.
Yes.
How did that come about? You could have gone to a number of places, but then it was Genser Energy.
So when I resolved to move out of Kulendi,
Yeah.
I had gone for several interviews with some institutions.
Okay.
There was one other institution which I wouldn't mention the name. I'd gone to the test stage of the interview.
Mm-hmm.
And they had asked that, which firm are you coming from? I said Kulendi. I was, we really wanted to take you, but we have signed a non-circumvention with Kulendi because Kulendi was a retainer, so we can't take you.
Wow.
And I had gotten an offer, which I was about to sign, and then I got recommended to the CEO of
Genser, okay.
who had invited me for coffee and said that he has this vision of expanding into the energy space if I want to come on board. Genser was also at the transitioning stage.
Okay.
From it being a small company transitioning into a bigger.
The big leagues.
So we had discussions, and I said, well, there's nothing wrong in trying out. So
Yeah.
I decided to try out.
Okay.
With him.
Okay.
So the other people which had gotten the contract called, and I said, I'm very sorry. I had to take another offer.
Take up another offer.
I took that of Genser Energy, and the experience has been humbling. It's been a great
experience through.
Yeah, it's been a great journey.
Let's start from the beginning of Genser. All right. You started out as were you working under somebody, or you're the main man?
So the story of Genser always makes me humble because I was the first lawyer.
Oh wow.
In Genser. Now we have about 5 or 6 lawyers.
Wow.
Yes. And at that time we were at Pond Barrier. There's a big warehouse. So I came for the interview with the HR in Accra. I'd not gone to our site.
Yeah.
So the first day at work, young lawyer with my suit, Kulendi style with your breast kitchen.
Exactly.
I walked to this warehouse. I said, come back. I go there at the last end of a container.
Wow.
Hey, Chawa, what have I gotten myself into? So it was a bit. I was a bit down initially because coming from Airport Hills
to a warehouse. Container.
With regression, but the story just unfolded.
So it turned out to be progress rather than retrogression.
And for me, it's just about how over the years it has transitioned from a small entity
into a really big
household name in the energy sector.
Exactly. Onesimos, so you're coming out of Kulendi.
Yes.
It's at Kulendi you're doing mainly litigation.
Yes.
Now you are the legal point person for an energy company that is fast growing.
Yes.
All right. How would you say your time at Kulendi, handling briefs, going to court, arguing out motions, how do you say it prepared you for that role at Genser Energy? Are there some transferable skills that you believe in litigation are useful in a corporate setting, or what's your take?
So Kulendi was a springboard that projected us into the corporate field.
Right.
Like I said, few people had that skill in Kulendi law. Amam Pukwa Ponsa, Teresa on Benjamin, Dennis Ejijumo, Daniel Osei were always hinting on us to pay attention to details.
Yeah.
If you want to be a corporate lawyer, the first thing is to pay critical attention to details.
Right.
And those are part of the nuggets that we picked up.
Yeah.
And if you're a litigation lawyer too, you look for the clauses that is likely to lead into litigation. Should you leave them ambiguous? Yeah. And so that's eye for details was something that was picked from Kulendi. Your ability to check liability clauses in agreements, and also client management. Yeah. It's all part of the things that we picked from Kulendi. Up. But in a nutshell, I would say that litigation is good. And every lawyer who wants to go into full-time corporate practice must have a bit of an experience.
That background, yeah. Yeah.
Because when you are reading contracts, you have a second eye. What if this happens?
Yeah.
Let me check the termination clause. Let me check the responsibilities of the parties. Let me check the risk factors, the securities. Let me check any other clause that is likely to cause problems.
Yeah.
Should we leave them ambiguous?
Yeah.
So yes, it was a humbling experience. Yeah.
So still in the corporate space, right? How different would you say litigation is from the corporate space? You just touched on the points of link between litigation, transferable skills. But what are some of the gaps that you identify in the litigation space that moving to the corporate space probably pushes you to try and fill very fast?
Well, they are all law. And so once you're a lawyer, and you have that skill to have an eye for the things that you are working on.
Yeah.
But the only problem or the only difference is that once you are in the corporate sales, you get to understand the commercial sense
Of things.
If you are into litigation, you are only thinking about, let's just go to court. Let's try to understand the agreement. But what is the commercial reasoning behind the agreements that you are reviewing? Every document that comes onto your table has two purposes.
Yeah.
It has a commercial reasoning of management, and then the legal reasoning. Is it workable?
Yeah.
That's what the lawyer thinks about. But the company will also be thinking about the commercial sense. That doesn't make sense. Doesn't make commercial sense. If it does make commercial sense, then you bring your legal argument. Even if it doesn't make commercial sense, then you have a way of convincing management. But if you are into litigation, mostly you don't really understand the core objects, the corporate structure.
Yeah.
The corporate sense, the
business side of things.
Business side of things.
Yeah.
So that is just the only difference. But I feel that every lawyer, once you put your mind to things, you can really do it. There's not really much of a difference.
What has your approach to self-development been? Joining Genser.
Well, that's a very open question, and I would say that being in the energy sector makes you know that it's a transitioning environment. It's a growing industry.
Yeah.
And so you need to always prepare yourself for the task ahead. Like I said, I came to Genser. We don't need the LLB.
Yeah.
And then the BL.
Yeah.
As a lawyer. So 2016 I joined. 2017 I enrolled on oil and gas law in Legon.
Okay.
After Legon, I also realized that Genser does a lot of financing.
Yeah.
So I took a course in project financing.
Okay.
And then after that, for mining, if it's not safe, you're not going to mine.
Yeah.
We work within the mining space. So I took a course with Bosch, HSC, Health, Safety, Environment.
Okay.
And then because it's capital intensive, insurance, I also took a course in insurance.
Wow.
And so if you really want to enter into a space, you have to dig deep and then
identify the needs.
Yes, identify the needs. Make sure you prepare yourself well for the needs, because in as much as you are good, every company is also profit oriented.
Yeah.
If they find somebody better than you who can do the job, they'll go for the person. So why don't you then prepare yourself well so that if they take left, you are there. If they take right, you are there. If it comes to the commercial side, you are there. If it comes to the legal side too, you are there. And so for me, I always advise people that identify a niche for yourself. If it's in the energy sector even in the energy sector, is it the renewable energy? Is it thermal energy? Is it what kind of energy that you want to do? If you identify it, what is it there that you need to really learn? And recently, I'm sure it's public knowledge, so I can share. Genser Energy raised $425 million facility for the Kumasi pipeline project and then the Prestia GCP. Yeah. I led the team internally to drive that, the corporate compliance, the finance agreement, together with some foreign entities, but internally in Ghana. I led that together with my team in Ghana. And so for me, that project finance that I did propelled me into doing that kind of financing. The insurance bit also helped. The health and safety also helped. So
you're covered in all angles.
Yeah, you have to. You need to.
Wow.
You need to. Don't take it that people don't take it for granted.
For granted.
Prepare yourself and be able to deliver.
Yes.
I'll ask value for their money.
Yeah, you're right. I asked this question How have you handled scenarios where you are being placed in a situation or being handed over some assignments that you may not be too familiar with? All right. Because I know as a lawyer, there are numerous instances of that nature where someone comes to you, yes, they see you as a lawyer, the problem solver, the superhero. Yeah. And sometimes, I mean, if you be honest with yourself, there are times when, hey, I mean, this assignment comes, this question is posed, and you know, I may not be an expert in this area, but then I need to deliver. What has your approach been? How do you go about stuff like that?
All right, so one of the skills that we learned at Kulendi was to build relations with everyone that we work with.
Yeah.
Like I said, from the security man to the CEO.
Yeah.
And so I happened to find myself in a space where I had no knowledge of. During my time at Kulendi, I not done any power purchase agreement, but that was my core objects now. So then you need to identify the project managers, the department managers. Try to sit with them. There's no point in running away from responsibility.
Yeah.
Ask them the necessary questions. Try to get answers. If you can't find them internally,
external.
Go external. Nothing new under the sun. There are people who have done what you're about doing. So why do you have to then stress yourself? So my approach has always been that for every project that I do, I try to identify what are the key scenarios, what are the key questions, what are the key issues.
Yeah.
How do I resolve them? Can I get them internally from my department?
Yeah.
Can I get it from the business development department? Can I get it from the HR? Can I get it from the project team? If yes, then I go to the project manager. These are the issues. How practical it is. That's when understanding the commercial science of business comes in. We try to discuss it. I get what I need, then I give the results. A typical example is during the Kumasi right of way. We had done pipeline over 375 kilometers from Pristia, Daman, Mansua, Memphis, down to the Usaso, and that was around 378 kilometers.
Yeah.
I had to lead the community relations team, sustainability team, which wasn't really part of my job. But I had gone for a meeting with them, and they were engaging the traditional leaders. I felt I could do it. I stood up to talk, and then from there, I was made more or less like the lead on all stakeholder engagement. Wow. So almost all the traditional councils along the way, even in Kumasi, I went with my boss to see Otunfo to, begin the conversations. And from there, Kokufu, Manso, Nkwanta, Asanso, almost all the traditional councils that dealt with it. And I also had to lead the right-of-way acquisition. All the lands that we laid a pipeline in was led by myself and the department. And so, for me, these were things that I'd never done. You have to enter the village, find out from the linguist, how do we approach your chief? They will teach you. Consultation. They will teach you that, okay, here, before you enter into the chief's palace, there are certain customary drinks that you need to bring. Beyond that, after you've seen the chief as a community leader, every community has its peculiar cultural practices. So approach the right people and they'll let you have what you need. Yes.
So this was gathering from what you are saying, then as a lawyer who transitions from litigation into, say, the corporate space, you really need to have a very open mind, because you might find yourself in varying spaces, being called to varying assignments.
All right. So let me explain a bit of my role.
Yeah.
The legal department is the pivot of the company.
Right.
It's the center. We deal with the business development team on power purchase agreement, gas processing agreements, and then GTA, gas transportation agreement.
Yeah.
With the HR on policy development and then management. We deal with the project team on EPC contracts. We deal with the procurement teams on procurement contracts. We deal with the sustainability team on sustainability management. All of them still comes back to the legal department project.
Yeah.
So you have to be open-minded. We didn't learn this. It was on the job training. You have to be open-minded, be receptive to work. And Genser operates that IAS football system that once you are good enough, you are old enough. So you can walk up to the company today. If you prove that you are worth it, it doesn't really matter. Somebody have been there 10 years. You will be given the position you deserve. And so you have to then position your mind, poise your mind that, hey, I'm in here as a lawyer. I'm in here to achieve and align myself with the company's goals. And that's what I want to do.
That's amazing, Onesimos. That's amazing. You mentioned something about being able to identify your niche as a young lawyer, all right? I just want us to touch on that a bit further. For you probably have identified your niche. I'd like to believe.
I'm still searching.
You're still searching.
Yeah, I'm still searching. I don't know. I don't know whether I should concentrate more on sustainability. I don't know whether I should do more health safety. I don't know whether I should dive so much into mines. I don't know whether I should do project finance.
It's a wide array of options.
I'm still thinking of what to do next.
My question was going to be, what would your advice be to youngsters who are still trying to find their way around things, all right? Because at least for you, you've progressed a bit into a certain field, the energy field, you've identified some of these other sub areas. For the young lawyer who is just out of pupilage, I know quite a number of people who are in litigation but are not enjoying litigation. All right, what would be the advice then? How do I identify my niche? How do I find an area to specialize in, or what should the next step really be for me?
That's a very open question, and it depends on
the individual.
Yeah, it's an individual preference. But I always say that regardless of wherever you are, I think there's something there that you have to pick up. Once you deep within you, there's an account adage that is only when a child is young that is shown how to urinate. The time will come that you know that this is the time to move.
Yeah.
And there's this passion, that's something burning in you that anytime you do, you feel so much fulfilled.
Yeah.
You're always still trying to find our fulfillment.
Yeah.
And so during that transition in time, I always advise people to try to enjoy what you do. And then when the time is right, what is it that gives you fulfillment? Pro bono. People do human rights and they are fulfilled.
Yeah.
People do, you're Catholic, people do church activities. He's a Catholic lawyer. He does work for the church and he or she is fulfilled. And so it's a very open question, which sometimes I'm very careful in giving advice. Look deep within you and find out what really gives you.
But I will admit that, I mean, your story really leaves a lot that I believe young lawyers like myself can glean some lessons from or some guidance from. We will now move to work-life balance. All right. Beyond the law, beyond being the legal and compliance manager of Genser, beyond your time as a litigant at Kulendi, I know Onesimos has a lot of fun. Onesimos enjoys other aspects of life as well. I want us to take a swim in those waters for a while.
I love traveling. And together with my brother, we do Enos travel.
Okay.
And our theme is taking you to the world and beyond. I'm sure very soon we'll come sponsoring all the way up.
Yeah. We're shooting episodes.
Yeah. So Enos Travels is a traveling company that does travel needs for corporate. We restrict ourselves to corporate clients. So lawyers, doctors, want to go to conferences.
Yeah.
Where we assist you.
Yeah.
My wife also sells kente.
Okay.
So Saturdays, if I'm not in the house watching football, Arsenal, I'm in the shop helping her with kente shop. Beyond that, I love music. And my love for music also led me to work briefly for Mike Bernes.
Okay.
And New Nation. They are the record label for the current VGMA rapper of the year, Amrado Bena. And I also do a bit of work for YV Digital.
Okay.
It's a digital platform that sells music digitally.
Okay.
And so on the label, we have Ochame Kwame, we have Amrado Bena, we have Episode, we have Darlington, we have Fameye, we have a few other artists that also comes onto that label.
Yeah.
To upload their music. And so basically these are, and then I'm also into some charitable foundations that Galaxy Foundation,
Okay.
which was recently part of the MTO's Heroes of Change.
Okay.
Top 10
Okay.
we're
Okay.
Part of that we do free surgery for people who are in need.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
So these are a few other things.
That's wonderful. Onesimos. That's a really interesting balance. And in doing these things, are you guided by any principles? Right. For some people, it's look, after work, I don't pick work calls. For some people, it's look, when I'm on vacation, I'm not opening my inbox. What are some of the precepts that you feel help keep you in check? Because looking at the projects that you are involved in at Genser, these are large scale projects demanding on time, effort.
Yeah.
How do you navigate it?
For me, like I said, developing the right attitude to work. Once I have work on my table until it's done, I don't leave work. I don't leave work for my bosses to be calling me. So that's one trait that I've built, even in the department.
Okay.
I wouldn't want people to come chasing after work. We always try to deliver on time. And then also, I think we are all products of grace. I say that in a very humbling way, that coming to Accra, like I said, I didn't know anyone. It was just a friend, who opened up his door for me.
Yeah.
That I stayed throughout the pupilage, and even a year before I left Genser. And so I say that in all humility, that if not by grace, you can't go anywhere. Because there are a lot of people who are much more brighter, who are brilliant than you are, but for that big hand to choose you into an area where you are making an impact, it means that there's a bigger hand. And I think that is something which needs to be hammered well, that it's not for nothing that we are on the world.
Yeah.
In this world. And it is by grace.
Yeah.
It is far by grace. Yeah.
That's it's interesting you mentioned, because one of my questions was going to be how spirituality has influenced your journey.
Spirituality is 100%. My grandmother, whom I stayed with from age 2 till she passed, always held my hand, and we prayed the rosary every evening. And I've been a church boy, a massive seminarian.
You're going to be a priest.
Yeah, who was priest. And
that tells a lot.
Two of my uncles are Catholic priests. One is a monk, and then the other is a priest. So
wow.
growing up, I'd seen the priest in the house
wow.
and stuff.
Wow.
But, God knows best.
Yeah.
So
you're doing just fine. Don't worry.
So we did.
That's nice. That's nice. Let's look at emerging practice areas that, lawyers, young lawyers, old lawyers should look out for. I think you touched on a couple of them, sustainability and then the like. Can you share a bit more with us?
Well, I think for now, the most or the most salient one is transactional market. Transactional market. The law is transitioning from the court to the transactional market.
Yeah.
And it is critical that we seek knowledge in the field. Working with Genser Energy, it's really taught me that once you put your mind to things, you have to be open-minded. Try to learn as much as you can on the transactional market. We've raised funds in equity, in preference shares, in mezzanine funding, and in senior lenders. These are special areas that about 90% of lawyers know nothing about.
Yeah.
In the next 10 years,
yeah,
if there's a project financing, the deal is worth $500 million. Until you know how to do the transaction, no international firm or business will appoint you as a lawyer. So I think the time has come that legal departments, corporate entities need to push up their young lawyers to find knowledge in that field. And then I think the Ghana Bar Association should even find interest in that. The courts are there, but the transactional markets is also a growing industry. Beyond transactional markets to sustainability.
Yeah.
How do we take projects to communities? What is the approach? What is the regulatory regime of projects? How do you approach them? How do you approach communities? How do you let the community accept projects that is upcoming? Every community has what they want as against what you are bringing. How do you convince them that what you are bringing is far more better than... I remember there was a project that we are doing. We identified a project that we thought was good.
Yeah.
We went to the traditional council, informed us, hey, here we can't allow you to do that kind of
thing.
You have a stream god who doesn't like that.
Right.
And so these things are looked upon by lawyers. I think we have to also be more open-minded into sustainability, project management, transactional markets, finance agreements. These are key areas which
you need to pay attention
to. If you're a young lawyer and you want to get a career, try to build a niche around that area. And I know in the next 5 to 10 years that will take up the legal profession.
Yeah. I think it's interesting that you mentioned this because throughout my time at law school, through Makola, I realized that accounting was one of the subjects that lots of us would shy away from. Yeah. Of course, because of the mathematical components to it. There's this conception that lawyers fear numbers. And so for you to throw this at us, I believe it's a challenge too.
Yeah, and the funny thing is that transactions is not really about...
Figures,
no. It's about knowing the regulatory regime.
Right.
What are some of the things that if I am a lawyer and then somebody comes up to me to run a project, what are some of the things that I need to do in terms of regulations? What regulation guides the area of the business?
Yeah.
If it's an energy space,
and
I'm a lawyer appointed, I know that the lenders will ask for my corporate compliance with the Companies Act.
Yeah.
Beyond that, they will look for my compliance with my regulations, Energy Commission Act, Mining Act. They will look whether I have the BOG approval to accept USD.
Yeah.
They will look for my material business agreement to check the liability regime. What are the things that have already... Are there any securities? Has the securities been perfected? Has they been discharged? Those are the things that transactional lawyers look out for. And even after I'm done with the transaction, how do I register the security? Don't leave it for the bankers. These are the things. So these are part of the things that I'm talking about. Yes.
It's not just figures.
No. It's not figures. The transactional markets are not figures. They're the regulations that guides your area of operation. You check the permits, the license of the business entity going for the loan. Are the objects of the company even in line with the things that they want to do? Do they have the board resolution?
Right.
After the board resolution, you now come back to check their compliance regime with their regulations. What acts, what regulations guides their operation?
Yeah.
So, I mean, there are lots of things that...
It's a host of things.
Young lawyers need to... Not even young lawyers. I mean,
practicing lawyers in general. Final question.
All right.
Final question. And if there are any remarks you'd want to put out there, you'd be at liberty to do so. It has to do with branding as a lawyer. All right. I mean, I believe you were good enough in the minds of those who recommended you for the Genser job, and over the years, I mean, your work has spoken for itself. All right. In a practice regime where, of course, we have strict rules when it comes to advertising, lawyer marketing, and whatnot, there's a debate as to whether some of these regulations should probably be amended or. But what would your advice or guidance be to young lawyers trying to make a name for themselves, trying to build a brand for themselves? What are some of the things that they should pay attention to?
Okay, so this bottle contains water.
Yeah.
And your bottle also contains water.
Yeah.
The first time we went to Kolendi, he brought up 2 candles.
Mm-hmm.
And say that because of how this candle has been branded, it's $1,000. Because of how this candles with the same light have been branded, it's just 50 cedis. Same content. When there's lights out and you light up a match.
Same light.
Same light. So that's just my simple answer. And he also advised that, there are napkins that we use to clean the glass for people to drink.
Yeah.
And the other ones that we use to mop the floor.
Yeah.
They're all napkins.
Yeah.
Yes.
Onesimos, let's go deeper into this.
No.
I'll be humble. I'll be humble enough, and then be like the disciples who asked Jesus Christ after he gives a parable.
My issue has been that you have to, just like Cristiano Ronaldo, when he picks up a free kick, he knows he's going to score.
Yeah.
He'll put up some antics and still score.
Yeah.
The only difference is that if you pick up those antics, you are unable to score.
You're unable to score.
Believe in your skill.
Yeah.
Talent. Why don't you package it, brand it, market it? I see law as a product.
Yeah.
I always advise my friends that if a client walks up to me, the client is walking up to me because I'm selling a product.
Yeah.
And I have to brand it. I have to polish it. I have to make it in a way that will look appeasing.
Yeah.
So I'm always troubled when I walk to law firm that has benches and not really packaging the office as a marketing place.
Yeah.
Brand your office, brand your skill because you know you are going to deliver.
Yeah.
If I come to your office, you serve me tea, you give me champagne,
Yeah.
you charge me in dollars, I won't complain. But if I come to your office and then you don't even serve me anything, the ambience in the office doesn't even deserve the price, I'll complain.
Yeah.
So, branding, the law is evolving. See the law as a product. See the law as something you are selling. Package the law, brand the law, put it in a cover, a case that when somebody is walking up the hill, the spotlight will be on. When it comes, you give the person gold. You give the person that glittering light that they saw. So why hide candles under the bed? And then still expect that people run to find out what's the sense?
Yeah.
What's the point?
Yeah. That's solid. That's solid, Onesimos.
So I believe that in anything that you do, it's an intellectual marketing product you are selling that needs to be packaged well. So I'm 100% in support of branding. Nice.
Any final words, remarks? There are quite a number of law students, young lawyers, maybe senior lawyers even watching you, aspiring lawyers. Any final words, comments, anything you want to throw in there?
Okay, so I've always maintained that things take time. If you move into an area and it looks clumsy, give yourself time. Befa.
Solid.
Yeah,
that's a slogan now. Yeah. There's a musician who once said, yeah, and so these are solid words. Ladies and gents, it's been a wonderful conversation with my senior brother, Onesimos Barimah. A wealth of experience he shared, and I'm sure listening to him, you've also picked a thing or two yourself. Thank you so much for journeying with us through this conversation. I'll just humbly appeal that you like all our platforms, all the way up podcast by Jeffrey Mensah on YouTube, all the way up podcast on Anchor, on Google Podcasts, on Apple Podcasts, and do well to also spread the word, spread this content as well. The whole idea is for it to benefit as many people as possible. We've been shooting at Dawa Dawa restaurant here at Osu. I said earlier on, it's a very great ambience here. They also serve very great food. So do well to check them out when you can. It's been great having you. It's been great having you also, Onesimos. Thank you very much, and catch you all later.
Thank you for watching. For subsequent episodes, subscribe to All the Way Up podcast by Jeffrey Mensah on YouTube and all podcast platforms.